So we hear over and over again, we've seen TrinDocs do things in a matter of days that bigger companies couldn't do in months. And they've come to us because the integrations that they had in place with their financial systems simply didn't work. So one of the things that sets us apart is our relationship, and would welcome your entry too.
Fantastic.
Check us out at TrinDocs.com.
There we go. TrinDocs.com, or find Jeremy Prichard on LinkedIn.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey, everybody. This is Max Pittman from WriteForMe, and you're listening to another episode of the Business Ninjas podcast. We meet the experts who are making things happen and scaling their businesses. And today we're talking about TrinDocs with Mr. Jeremy Prichard, who is the Director of Sales and Marketing at TrinDocs. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Max. Thank you for having me.
You bet. I appreciate you being here, and I'm excited to dive into all the exciting things that are going on in TrinDocs. And before we get going into that, though, like the TrinDocs brand is an electronic document management and workflow automation organization. You guys have been around. Well, the product itself has been around for about 12 years and in the market for about 12 years. So, tell me, I guess, a little bit about yourself, though, before we dive into the organization. Maybe some of the things you're focused on as we kick things off here.
Sure. Well, like you said, TrinDocs has been around for about 12 years. I've been around for about 3 of those with TrinDocs. Mm-hmm. So prior to coming into this space, my life has been in consumer goods and hard goods that you can put your hands on and physically touch and hold. COVID happened and everything changed for me and, most of the world. And so now I'm in a software space. Yep. And absolutely loving it. So it's been a new adventure for me, but it's been one that I've embraced and very welcoming to all the different communities, whether it's Microsoft or Oracle or all the different ERP and accounting systems have user groups that are just wide open arms to newcomers like myself. And that's been such a breath of fresh air. So I'm loving it.
Very cool. And you've been there for, like you said, about 3 years. Tell us a little bit about, your role at TrinDocs as the Director of Sales and Marketing. What brought you there, and just kind of curious what you're focused on.
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, my role is a Director of Sales and Marketing. So that's wearing multiple hats. There's lots of different things that go in with sales and lots of different things that go in with marketing. Sure. In our world, we're specifically talking to people that are in 2 different functional areas. Either we're talking to people in IT, or we're talking to people who are in accounting or finance. So the latter, the controllers, CFOs, those types of people, they month-end close, quarter-end close, year-end audits, all of these types of things distract them from opportunities to sell. And so you have to be very strategic in terms of when you can talk to them. And so what I found is that actually wearing both a sales hat and a marketing hat is very good, because when the opportunity is right and the iron is hot to strike on the sales side, I can do that. When it's not, then I have kind of some planning time on the marketing side, and I can get a nice little rhythm going throughout the year. So it's been a really, really nice thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, of course. Everybody wears lots of hats, I feel like, in this day and age, especially at like startup environments. And the organization you mentioned itself has been around for a few years, but the product has been around for over a decade, right? So, I'm curious just to understand a little bit more about like, what is TrinDocs, right? You guys, if you were on I love to do this analogy. If you were trying to pitch to me as a shark on Shark Tank, like what's your elevator pitch? What problem does your solution solve for?
Sure. And that's a great way to phrase that question, by the way. But TrinDocs, to break our name down, Trin is short for the Trinity. So our ownership wants to have God included in our business. Docs is short for documents. And so what you're going to find when you deal with us are people that try to treat other people the way that we would like to be treated. 4 core values that we have are what drew me to TrinDocs, and frankly, what has kept me at TrinDocs. And those core values are all just one word, and they are integrity, excellence, growth, and happiness. I align very well personally with those, but the way that we do things at TrinDocs is we believe if we work with integrity and we do excellent work, then we are going to grow and we're going to be happy. And so will our clients. And so that kind of mindset is what drives our business. And it's really a big differentiator. We build relationships. We're not some monster company that's publicly traded that has a solution. We force you to figure out how to work within. We genuinely get to know our clients and build solutions together. And that's a very collaborative process that we just love doing.
I love it. I love it. And I can tell it's something that like, being in Kentucky, being, in a smaller town, right? But you're very relationship driven for sure. Like I've gotten to know you and, what your hobbies are and, your family. And I can tell like the people that, that you guys are going to be working with, right? It's a different type of, it's a different type of experience they're going to get working with you guys versus the big publicly traded companies in this space, right? So like, what would you say like that's part of like kind of like the secret sauce that you provide, like, or is it going to be the technology that's going to be separating you? I'm just kind of curious to understand like what would make you guys stand out in this marketplace?
There are several things that make us stand out. Relationships is one. We have probably 24 different client success stories. And those are all situations where we simply ask our clients, hey, would you be willing to tell the world what we've done for you in your business? And they say yes. It's not a paid situation. It's not a sponsorship. They just share their story because they love the product. So we hear over and over again, we've seen TrinDocs do things in a matter of days that bigger companies couldn't do in months. And these are coming from CIOs, CFOs, people in positions of power where they've worked with larger organizations. We've seen others that have left those publicly traded competitors that we have, and they've come to us because the integrations that they had in place with their financial systems simply didn't work. So one of the things that sets us apart is our relationship, our automation as unique as you. That's our tagline, and we kind of build solutions around clients. Another thing is our highly skilled team. We are small and we are nimble, but we are experts in a cross-functional range. And so we work in very, very close proximity to not only the client teams that we're working with, but their third-party IT teams, their outsourced, whatever the situation might be, expertise in a cross-functional realm within a small team that allows us to be quick and nimble and respond to whatever things might be going on at our clients,
Sure.
situation. That's what sets us apart.
Sure. And what are some of the industries you typically work within? I heard you mention you talk to like IT teams, financial teams as well. Like what types of clients, like are you guys, going after? Is there a specific segment that is your focus, is a little bit more agnostic or broad? How would you describe like the industries?
That's actually another thing that sets us apart. We're specifically focused on the SMB world. And so within that range, we focus on the $100 to $500 million revenue business. So there's going to come a point where perhaps you might outgrow a solution that we have, but there's also a point where maybe you haven't quite gotten to that point just yet. So clients that are outgrowing QuickBooks are perfect targets for a solution like ours. Clients that are already using cloud solutions like Oracle NetSuite or Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Those types of ERP users are the perfect sweet spot for us.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? But like, so size of business SMB for sure, right? But what about like the industries? Is there a focus on like, healthcare, dental? Is there a focus on, HVAC or, people local to you guys, right? Like what are you seeing from like industries that you guys are going to be working within as well?
Sure, we serve a broad range of people. I'm going to start broad and narrow in, but honestly, anyone who has bills to pay and wants to pay them more efficiently, that's who we kind of help. Now, industry focus, we deal with a lot of people in the material handling world. So logistics companies, warehousing companies, distributors of heavy machinery and equipment. That's one vertical that we have. Another would be in healthcare. So obviously HIPAA compliance and security controls is very important. We handle all of that, have a lot of clients that are in healthcare, nursing home, mental health. And then probably the third vertical that we would have would be in financial and banking industry. So those three are the kind of the pillars that everything else is built around. And that's who we're targeting. But that doesn't mean that if we slightly missed a target, that's not a customer or client we can help to. And so we see a lot of that also.
Gotcha. Makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, what would you like what would you say are like some of those biggest challenges then, right? Like, is it, hey, we're outgrowing and we need a bigger solution, for accounting, right? Like, what are some of those typical problems as to why people are coming to you guys?
Sure. A lot of the problems that we see are around growth. And
Mm.
what TrinDocs does is we help companies not only operate more efficiently, but we enable growth. And so whether it's companies that are growing and needing to add headcount in their back office, our solutions help them do that in a very fast and easy method because they're so intuitive and user friendly. Or maybe it's on the other side and it's a business where unfortunately they're having to downsize for whatever reason. Our solutions could be used in those situations too to eliminate manual processes and some of the less value added work that might be done. But what we try to do is understand where clients are at today, what their ideal state might look like in terms of their back office. And then we try to be a bridge to help fill that gap. And the way that we do that is very tailored to the way that our clients want to do that. We don't try to be everything to everybody, but what we do extremely well.
Gotcha.
So requisitions, payables, payments, any kind of procure to pay automation, any kind of document management, any sort of situation where people have manual approval processes. Maybe they're emailing somebody for an approval or chasing them down the hallway with an ink pen. We get rid of all of that, take them paperless, and increase visibility and profits along the way.
Mhm. Are there specific integrations that you guys specialize in? Just because I assume there's got to be some sort of specialization there.
There is, and we are a Microsoft Gold certified partner, which is the highest level partner that Microsoft awards. And so most of our clients are in the Microsoft world, whether that's NAV or GP, now moving into Business Central. But we're agnostic when it comes to ERP system. We have clients using NetSuite, Sage, SAP, EBS. Really, we have a couple of clients that are doing their own homegrown financial systems, and we're so configurable that we can even work with those situations. But dead center bullseye for us is definitely Microsoft, but any sort of cloud-based ERP or accounting system with APIs built in, we're going to work extremely well with.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense, right? Like the be able to diversify and be able to integrate with all the top providers out there. I just didn't know if there was like a specialization, either one or two of them, but it does sound like there is. And would you say like that's potentially part of like the secret sauce, like that you guys provide, in addition, obviously, your ability to provide, relationships and work with integrity, right? How would you think that like, you guys stand out against like the competition?
Yeah, I think we stand out extremely well, and that's because we involve our whole team. A client talking to a salesperson expects that salesperson to try to sell them, but a client talking to a developer or a client talking to an accountant that might be on our staff, or even more, we tend to pull in our clients to help sell our solutions. And that's not because we necessarily need to do that, but we feel it's a very effective way where our clients love our solution so much they can show their TrinDocs with their accounting system. And we see that happen over and over and over, where we kind of feel bad that that happens in one sense, but in another way, we're very proud of the fact that that happens, that these folks are volunteering their time and their systems to help show how we've helped them. And that's one of those situations where that doesn't happen if people don't believe in what you're doing. And so we're thankful to have a client base that loves us so much. They want to spread the good news just like we do. And that's typically how things end up happening for us.
Yeah, of course, right? Telling that the customer story and having case studies and customer quotes are definitely part of marketing strategies that are going to be effective for others that are there with the same types of problems. Are
Let me give you,
Mhm.
sorry, Max, I just want to give you one example of that. We just launched a new version of our solution, and it's the sixth version. So TrinDocs 6. we launched this version last week, and within seconds of ending that webinar, we get an email that says, just when I thought I couldn't love TrinDocs anymore, you guys go and give me so many more reasons. And so I responded back. The person's name was Amy. I said, hey, Amy, that's great. Would you mind if I use that publicly? Absolutely. Go for it. No problem. And so we hear those kinds of things over and over and over. And that's very inspirational to us. It's, affirmation that we're doing things the right way, not just from a core value perspective, but we're solving real world business problems in a way that people appreciate. And that's what we love doing.
Of course. Always love that. That's great. That's especially like immediate gratification. Of course, we all love that these days, right? Um, and from a marketing perspective, it's super valuable to have that type of content to be able to to have and publicly share, right? How are you guys, I guess, creating and distributing your own content, I guess, to engage and attract with your target audience? I'm just kind of curious to see like maybe what you guys have done that's also been effective in addition to the customer stories.
Sure. Well, one of the key things that we do is we partner with other industry leaders. Obviously, Microsoft, Oracle, these companies are so large that they don't sell directly to anyone. And so they use a partner network to do that. And so what we do is we partner with the partners, and where their clients have needs that they can't meet, that's where we come into play. And so again, that's a situation where that doesn't happen if they don't have a lot of faith in the people on the other side and that we're going to do what we say that we're going to do. And it's just a snowball situation where the more that you do that, the more opportunities come. And that's kind of how we've seen the success we've had here.
Yep. I love it. Yep. Having the ability to leverage partners in addition to customers and referrals is another source of pipeline. What about other like inbound marketing or outbound marketing? Like, what are you guys doing to drive opportunities in those pipelines?
What we're doing, obviously, we're hosting webinars. We're going out to trade show events. We're going out to clients to ask for referrals. We're doing email campaigns, and we're partnering with others that are in our space that are not direct competitors to see where we have synergies. So all the normal things that you would think to be doing, we're doing the best we can. But what we've really seen is that, there's nothing better than word of mouth. That's absolute the best that you can get. And so we've seen a lot of success come from client referrals, partner referrals. That's a much more successful way to go about things as opposed to an email campaign that can be cold and stale.
Yeah.
We really like the relationship and, laying eyes on someone, shaking someone's hand at an event. So that's really how we've had some success.
Cool. Are you guys going to be anywhere? Any events in the near future where people can shake your hands and say hello?
Absolutely. We've already been to a few user groups this year. One was with Soft-Based Systems out in Houston. Another was with EBS Mech Data, which was in St. Louis. We're going to be at Epicor Connect for P21 coming up here in August. And then obviously all of the different Microsoft communities. We're going to be in Charlotte in this fall. But all those places that you would expect to see kind of the VARs and the ISVs, the independent software vendors, that's where we're going to be at. And it all comes down to, we want to be in places where the user group that we're serving is coming to seek solutions. So lots and lots of those situations. One of the big ones for us is the annual Mahita convention. And that just took place a few weeks ago here in our backyard in Nashville. And it was great to kind of host everyone in a sense. But that world, the material handling world, is one that we are very locked in and very in sync with. So I'll be out in your neck of the woods next year in San Diego for that. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Fantastic. That's great. Two great places. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. So everyone who's listening, who may know TrinDocs or knows Jeremy or knows the industry and space for these ISVs, like definitely check them out at your next event that you guys are going to be at. And then, I'd love to kind of say, looking ahead, right? What are maybe some of the future marketing or growth plans for TrinDocs, right? Are there any new, marketing strategies you guys plan to explore? Or, how do you envision the company evolving, I guess, over the next, few months up to the end of the year, to achieve company goals?
Sure. Well, one way is actually increasing headcount. We are growing not just from a sales organization, marketing organization, but our support staff, whether it's developers and coders or customer and client support, we're growing because our sales are growing. So we're on pace to double our revenue here this year in the last 3 years. And that's something that we're very proud of. So growth enables growth. So part of it's just adding headcount. Part of it is being smarter and not just working harder, but working smarter. And so whether it's SEO tools or whether it's AI and what we can do with different things in that ever evolving world, we're certainly investigating all the different things that we can do.
I love it. Yeah. Adding headcount for sure, right? To continue to prove the technology, continue to get your name out there, right? I think those are big pieces for any company that's growing and scaling, is how do we continue to tell the market who we are, and how do we continue to improve our products and continue to increase our customer retention, right? Because I'm sure that's probably a big piece of how you guys are growing as well.
It is. And every company is going to have clients that sometimes they need to leave for whatever reason. Maybe they were purchased by a larger parent organization that had a competing solution. But what I've seen with TrinDocs in my 3 years is that we have an extremely high client retention rate. So of the hundreds of clients that we have, I know of one that we've lost this year. And that was a situation, like I mentioned, where they're purchased by a larger organization and some compliance things that we didn't have in place quite yet, their new organization required. And so it's not a situation where they left us because they wanted to. It was more they had to. And so that speaks very well, again, of the technology and the solutions and the relationships that we have with our clients.
100%. I can see it for sure and hear it in the way you're talking about your clients and how we've talked about it over our past few calls as well. And hey, look, Jeremy, I want to leave the floor open for you too, right? As we wrap things up, is there anything that you think our audience, hasn't heard yet from you, or, anything else you want to share that our listeners should know about the company that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Max. And I would say if you are in accounting or finance, or maybe if you're in IT and your teams are doing manual processes, stop it. They don't have to do that. There's a better way. We help teams eliminate manual data entry. We help teams go paperless. And so instead of having 7.5 years of hard copies up and down your hallways, maybe stealing away office space, we take companies paperless, which increases the visibility into your internal controls, which ultimately boost your profitability. We help people grow by operating more efficiently. And we do that whether you're a Microsoft user, an Oracle user, or any other accounting financial system, even those that might be homegrown. So if you want to find me, you can find me on LinkedIn or any social media. Would love to connect with you. I'm new to the industry, so I am in a situation where I'm connecting with lots of different people and would welcome your entry too.
Fantastic.
Or check us out at TrinDocs.com.
There we go. TrinDocs.com, or find Jeremy Prichard on LinkedIn. And, if you guys are going to be at any of those conferences, definitely reach out to Jeremy so you guys can set up a chat. And yes, stop what you're doing right now and let's help you eliminate that data entry process and help you guys become more efficient. And right, like that's
right
for you guys. So I love it. Well, I appreciate your time today, Jeremy, and being a part of our Business Ninjas podcast. I definitely feel like I've gotten to know you a lot over the past few weeks, and who you guys are, what you guys do, and so I feel like this conversation hopefully is going to help in educating the audience a little bit more on who you guys are and what you do, and looking forward to reconnecting in the coming weeks and months and seeing how we can help you guys out. But in the meantime, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to reach out to Jeremy and TrinDocs.com, and he'll help you with your automation needs. So I appreciate everyone taking time to listen. And that wraps up another episode of the Business Ninjas podcast. Jeremy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Max. I really appreciate it.